Hello everybody. So my name is Bronwyn Wood. I'm a clinical psychologist, a South African clinical psychologist living in Zurich. And I'm starting this video series, if you want to call it that, as part of a larger initiative which is congregating around the hashtag Surviving Together. And this initiative is basically aimed at helping us connect with one another. Because more than ever, as much as we don't like each other, we kind of need each other right now. So I just wanted to share something with you, and I wanted to show you the first victim of Corona in our office. And yeah, this is it. The frustration of being isolated, and this wasn't me, by the way. This was my dear frustrated brother, and who owns a photography studio, and who has undergone a tremendous amount of stress because here in Switzerland, as many of you may know, they've taken measures to ensure social distancing and to ensure that we can try and enact the recommended measures from the World Health Organization. And so obviously his business has been severely affected. His current and future projects have been affected, and and now he's forced to be sort of innovative, and he's got to manage his family, he's got to support his family, and also keep another business going. And obviously it's taking its toll. So I just want to acknowledge our very first victim here, and I'm sure there will be several more, and hopefully all of our victims are restricted to electronics. Alright. So, what I would like to talk about is the importance of being connected during this time. So there are a lot of videos out there, a lot of people talking about what you can do, useful tips, during quarantine, how you can keep your mood up, your spirits up, by having activities every day, having certain rituals, engaging with friends and family, online as much as possible, definitely eating well, and obviously exercising. And I would urge everyone to become familiar with those things if they're not already, because it would be foolish to think that you won't be affected by all of this, no matter how stoic you may feel, or how little, even if you've had little experience with anxiety and depression, I guarantee you that you're going to be facing the very real consequences of social isolation. And I think it's already happening. Life is chaos. Life has always been chaos. The coronavirus is only making us aware of that chaos. It's always been there. And we've got this wonderful ability to create order out of chaos. That's what we do. But we've also become incredibly emotionally attached to that order, and we feel overwhelmed by the chaos. Obviously, there are exceptions to the rule. There are people who thrive in chaos. They're masters of chaos, but they're rare. And a lot of them belong to a time that's long past. So now the question is, how do you create order, your own personal order out of this chaos? How do you do that? You've got to take care of your emotional needs now, big time. And nobody's going to know how to respond to those needs if you don't tell us, if you don't share it with people. So here I am sharing my need to connect with everybody else. So it's not that we're not acknowledging those fears. Right? Those fears are real and people are responding for good reason. However, there is a need to remain grounded and rational and know that you're part of a community that cares about you. But you've got to also care. You've got to show that as well. Because if you don't take all of the toilet paper and there's some left for, Joe Soap over there, and he can keep going, in the long term, if everyone has access to some of those resources, and then we can pour some of, a portion of those resources into this economy which is really grinding to a halt, then hopefully we can keep things afloat. Because we cannot rely on our governments to bail us out. Even in Switzerland, we're a country where they have a culture of insurance. I mean, it's incredible, actually. They would be pushed to the absolute limit if people were given all the resources that they would need to stay afloat on the level that they are now. So the onus is really on the individual, it's on us to create solutions, to create ways of ensuring that the dynamic flow and the dynamic interactions between people in these relationships that we share with one another, because we have emotional relationships and we have economic relationships, and those two go hand in hand. And if you can keep emotionally grounded and understand that you putting in that 10 cents into someone else's company to keep them afloat so they can be there 3 to 6 months from now, they will be able to contribute to this person and that person and so on and so forth. So yes, obviously we're not going to be thriving in the beginning economically, but we just need to keep afloat. So I would say that our two main priorities together as this big global community is to make sure that mentally we are fit enough to rationally engage with this economy in the state that it is, so that we can thrive and actually learn from this experience. Because this doesn't have to be a traumatic, damaging crisis. If we know how to use our relationships and rely on our relationships and be reliable in our relationships, we can be better people at the end of the day. And in a way, I don't know what more we could ask for. So this is also actually a very strong recommendation, that you do one ridiculous thing every day. You gotta do one silly thing every day. Every day. I suggest you do it in the morning, because for me that's the best time, but I do it several times a day, just sort of as a habit anyway. So, what's my ridiculous thing for today?